Welcome to Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Harmony, Minnesota is a town that is working hard to live up to its name. Today we visit with Merlin Hoines, who shares his inventions and the history of this community. We talk with Roxanne Johnson and Jill Fischbacher to gain insight on how this rural community has developed a culture and practice of sustainability. And finally, we visit a new restaurant with a familiar face. Longtime cooking school owner Chef Lars has opened the Quarter to rave reviews. Stay tuned for Cities on the Move. Merlin Hoines is an inventor and historian. He has been an active part of the Harmony community for more than 90 years. Let's meet him now.
My name is Merlin Hoines, and I've lived in Harmony all my life, and I came from a family of 11 kids. I'm the third one from the bottom. My father came to Harmony in 1914. He was in the creamery business. They asked him to come to Harmony and build a creamery in Harmony because the one here had burnt down. So he came to Harmony and built this creamery in 1914, and he was in the creamery business for 50 years. Yes, there were 7 boys in our family, and of course we all had a job to do as far as the creamery was concerned, so I made butter for 20 years. We were the largest privately owned creamery in the state of Minnesota. We made over 1.5 million pounds of butter every year. As we closed the creamery, we sold to Rochester Dairy in 1957. I was in the grocery store in Harmony, and we never could buy enough lefse to satisfy the people because this is quite a Scandinavian community around here. And I thought, well, this would be a good thing to start. So my wife and I started making lefse in the back of the grocery store and selling it there. But our son has 3 grocery stores, and we couldn't make enough lefse to satisfy all the grocery stores, so then we opened up our own lefse plant in a separate building. We had this locker plant, and of course we were butchering and packing meat in lockers, and this was before the frozen food industry out to the public had really started. So I bought a hamburger machine that would make hamburger patties, and I changed the die in it to make a round meatball instead of a patty. So I could make 90 meatballs a minute. And I peddled those around in southern Minnesota. I couldn't go out of the state on account of the laws. But I had, probably as many as 35, 40 stores that I was selling meatballs to. You know, when I was in the grade school, we had 6 grocery stores. And we had 4 car dealers. And then we had 2 clothing stores. And we had a lot of people. We had a lot of farmers that had hired men. And so on Saturday and Wednesday nights, the streets would be full of people. And everyone is pretty congenial. They all kind of work together, and that makes a big difference too. The name Harmony, it sounds like it's very harmonious. It's not always that way, but most of the time it is.
Well, today we're talking with some community leaders in the city of Harmony, and our special guests today are Roxanne Johnson and Jill Fischbacher. Welcome to the program, gals.
Thank you.
Now, Roxanne, you are with the EDA in town, and Jill, you're with the Chamber of Commerce, so you guys are in the business of all the business and the activities of the community. But let's start a little bit by talking about the history of Harmony and give us a little story about how Harmony came to be.
Well, Harmony was founded in about 1890s, like mid-1890s. It was Norwegian immigrants who had first settled in Wisconsin, and then they opened land grants in our area, in the Minnesota area, so they moved to our region and settled in the southern half of Harmony. There's a new fire hall and a cemetery, and that was originally called Greenfield Prairie. And the railroad came into town, so they moved a half a mile north, closer to the railroad for convenience, of course, and started the town as there, and they wanted to rename it. So they had a town meeting, and in the discussion there was some back and forth, and so I said, let's have Harmony, and that became the name.
Oh, all right. So really is indicative of the name itself.
Yes, yes.
So very good. All right. Well, as many small communities did, they popped up with the railroad, and I'm assuming had a fairly strong agricultural base in your community?
Very strong, yep. Farmers primarily that settled the area, and a few stores that moved in and developed a little town.
All right. Give us a sense of what happens as many of our communities in the upper Midwest and southern Minnesota and northern Iowa experienced as the rural community changed, farming changed. A lot of times you saw the kind of rural depopulation, I guess is how we might describe it. Give us a sense of some of the challenges that the community of Harmony and that area faced when that occurred.
Well, Harmony in a whole I don't think has went down population-wise too much. The town has stayed fairly steady. The agricultural areas around us changed, the makeup of farming changed, and so that affected us. We had the Amish move in, and that changed our makeup, but the city of Harmony worked very well with the Amish, doing Amish tourism, and the Amish work along with that, so the communities worked very well together, and that helped bring in tourism and different jobs and opportunities for people.
I know when we were visiting with Merlin Hoines, who is our special guest on the program today as well, he was talking about in the old days there used to be 6 grocery stores and multiple clothing stores, and a lot of communities in our area used to have that very thing because of course people shopped much more locally simply from a function of transportation. Tell us a little bit about how the downtown may have changed and the type of businesses that you'll find there today.
Well, I think we're very fortunate. We have a full-service hardware store that is recently just going through another expansion, and we have a full-service grocery store. The things that you really provide your basic needs. We have a clinic, we have a pharmacy, so you really can sustain life within Harmony itself and not have to travel outside to get those basic needs. And when the population's changed, we've done things to make it more attractive for people to live there that are commuting into Rochester or commuting into La Crosse. We have high-speed internet service, we have commuter bus traffic, so you can ride the bus to Rochester to work and back. So we've really tried to change the dynamic in order to attract those people to our community.
It gives a lot of, I think there's a lot of diverse businesses that have the economic base is so well planned, I think, or not planned, but happen to work out well. I think that we have tourism, we have agricultural-based businesses, so it doesn't really matter if you're farming-based or town-based or whatever. We just have something for everything, along with recreational activities. We have a movie theater, which is unique to Fillmore County. There's only one other one, and this one's been in business nonstop for quite so many years now. So that makes a big difference. We have a lot to offer: good library, medical services.
And how is it, when I talk to folks in the community, they talk a lot about being a self-sustaining community, and how is it that you're able to accomplish that when perhaps some other communities have really struggled with that? Was there a moment in history where the community leaders kind of made a decision and took some specific steps to ensure that there were some of these basics available? And fun things too, like movie theaters.
Well, the City of Harmony has been, I think, very successful in having progressive-minded people on the council and the EDA. Those people have taken opportunities such as the tax increment financing, opportunities to bring that to town, and that takes a lot of risk in some ways because you're dealing with taxing authorities and giving up tax base to encourage business and opportunities for people to start their own businesses and do things within the town. Harmony's always been very open-minded and open-armed, kind of welcoming to people to start businesses and be successful. And I think that's nice because you can work at a business, you can work it from home with the DSL. We have good local employers, and we also have places you can commute to. So that's unique in itself, I think. But just the camaraderie and the friendships and kind of the work together attitude that Harmony has is really nice. It's very inviting for people.
That's interesting that you mentioned that as such a strong point when the community perhaps had a little dissension originally or early on when they were naming and founding the community. So you've kind of turned that around completely.
Yep.
Give us a sense just from a mechanic standpoint. I know many communities are familiar with TIF financing, but how does that work?
Well, I wasn't there in the history when it started, but TIF districts are set up where the tax base is actually forgone by maybe the county or the school or the city or whatever, whoever you go to and ask for that part of it. But the city primarily basically gives up the taxes on that portion for a period of years if the business develops there. And those taxes can go back and help that person in developing their business in a way that it doesn't cost them that money up front. And through some of the revolving loan funds and grants that we've been able to give also, we can help with gap financing to help businesses start, which is really important in this day and age too, because not everybody has every dollar to start up a business. Sometimes they need to fill some gaps of either startup money or some gap financing for getting their business off the ground. And that really helped a lot of businesses. We also team up with the Southeast Minnesota Development Corp. And we have a staff person that's available through the City of Harmony. So if you're thinking of starting a business or incubating it, or maybe even changing something and diversifying one you currently have, you can sit down with our gentleman that's there, and he will help you with everything from business planning, crunching numbers, and giving you ideas of things that may work, and kind of helping you tweak those issues to see what really works for you. And he's also instrumental because he hears a lot of stuff from businesses of needs and wants in the community. So if somebody's starting up something or needing to add something to diversify, he can give them an idea of what might work. And that adds to the success in its own way, I think.
All right. Give us a sense if when you use TIF districts, you forego that tax revenue for a certain period of time, and yet it sounds like you've got great loan programs or grant programs that are funded through the city. Where does the community's revenue come from then if for a certain portion of your area, you're foregoing kind of some of that tax revenue? Do you have other resources that you've tapped into?
Well, I'm probably not the best authority to ask that on, but the tax increment financing helps in those certain ways. We still get our normal taxes and our normal LGA, which of course is being a concern for every community. But I think just as people spend dollars in the town and the community itself, business owners can survive and do well. They spend money in town, and we also, the Chamber and the EDA has worked collectively to do a roundtable meeting with the businesses. We've been doing them. We started every quarter. We've gone to quarterly or every 6 months, where we try to connect the businesses together in roundtable to discuss things that are going on in their business, and also to make everyone aware of what's offered in town. There's changes in the businesses, so you can shop in town and what's there, or remembering to send somebody to another business in town. And I think just spending dollars in town and supporting your own town is very important, and we try to stress that also.
Jill, give us a sense of when you have these roundtable discussions, what are some of the issues that the business community or the citizens are raising as things that are important that they'd like to see either maintained or improved in the community?
We talk a lot about different products that maybe customers or tourists alike are looking for, and where they might fit into some existing business or give somebody an idea of a new business that starts. We talk about hours, what hours are working, what hours aren't working, Saturdays, Mondays, what's good, what isn't good. Try and figure out a way for the restaurants to maybe shift so that there's always a restaurant open every day of the week, but they're not all taking on some of the bad days for business. They can share ideas, they can incorporate things that are working in their business. And really it's just an awareness factor of where can you find this in town? So somebody comes into your business, asks for a particular product, you don't carry it, you can certainly send them in the right direction, and being aware of what all the other businesses are doing in town.
Great, a very cooperative effort there.
Really helps build camaraderie between, I think we're all so busy running our own businesses that sometimes it's, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day shuffle of life, and it's really important to connect with the other business owners, and to hear maybe something that they had as a struggle that helps you go, oh, I could do that too. And all that really helps. I think just being in touch with everybody has really built the camaraderie and helped people with ideas.
I think the other thing we do as a chamber, we have an email network that all members are included on, and you can send information about your business, and we then forward it to the entire membership list. Okay. So we kind of protect the membership list so it doesn't get in the hands of just random telemarketers or anything like that. But it's a way for businesses to share ideas or share change in hours or new product lines or things that have happened with each other to keep the business community connected with one another. We also do promotion events throughout the year, which some are, just for fun. We'll have an Easter egg hunt coming up, and we have a May promotion that focuses on going green and antiquing and things of that nature. And we do Family Fun Day in the park and music in the park and a customer appreciation picnic. So several events throughout the year to try and get the community out and about and to engage with the business owners about what's going on in the community.
Now, part of being self-sustaining is having a stable business base. You guys have also capitalized on some tourism opportunities that are in your area, both natural, like I think of the cave, and other things that happen in your community. Give us a sense of what's the balance that you've found that works for the community, because you really, I'm sure as you have found, can't depend on just one sector or another. If you were only tourism, then when times get tough, maybe sometimes that gets a little tight. Tell us a little bit about the balance that you guys maintain in the things that you have, business-wise or entertainment-wise.
Well, I think by providing basic needs stores, the hardware store, the pharmacy, the grocery store, the lumber yard, those are the things that are sustained year-round by the people that live there. Yes, tourists probably stop in those stores and make purchases as well, but they're really sustained by the population that lives there year-round, as well as our gift stores. I mean, we all shop at our local gift stores for occasions, but those are truly part of the tourism traffic too. People come to town to see the cave or ride the bike trail or golf or some of those things and take the time to eat in our restaurants and peruse our gift shops. And it really does provide a natural balance by providing kind of the want items along with the need items.
I think what's nice about it is for people who move to Harmony, whether you have pets and you need the vet clinic, or those kind of things, walking the river trail, you want to golf, we have a nice movie theater. I think that all those things, the public library, the shopping and things you can do, they all add to just everyday life. And those are the simple things, but yet they're the necessity things that we all enjoy. And it's nice to be able to live in a community where those things are accessible and obtainable. And that diversification being kind of strategically located between some other larger shopping areas. We're far enough out that those businesses can sustain and be self-supported. And I think people really appreciate the quality of life that it has to offer, that you have that diversification every day.
Every day. What's next for the community? What do you see on in your planning agendas? I'm sure you do strategic planning in both of your organizations along with the city. What's coming up next for Harmony?
I think from a chamber standpoint, we're strengthening our volunteer committees. We have several committees that work on several projects throughout the year, increasing public awareness about what is in the community, what businesses are already there, and what might be coming on the horizon. We're fortunate enough, we have senior assisted living, we have a Harmony Healthcare nursing home facility, we have a medical clinic. There's a lot of things that you can get done just in town. You don't have to travel that 25 miles to a larger community to do those things, and raising awareness about that within the community itself and encouraging community support. And I think we're going to do some things on the tourism side, probably develop a new website this year to increase both resident awareness and tourist awareness about what we have in our community and what we have to be proud of.
Great. Well, it sounds like you've done a fabulous job of creating a sense of community among your permanent residents there, which I'm sure is also reflected when the visitors come and see. And it sounds so simple, just be nice and get along and work together. But it sounds like you guys have managed to do a great job of that and have created a self-sustaining community there. So if folks are interested in getting in touch with either one of you to find out more about how they might emulate that in in their community, how do they get a hold of you? Jill, what's your number?
My phone number is 507-886-2525. That's my phone number at work, or you can email me at hacc@harmonytel.net.
All right, great. And Roxanne, how do they get a hold of the EDA?
Roxanne Johnson, the EDA. Our city phone number is 886-8122.
Okay.
And again, the Harmony Chamber of Commerce website would be good to visit.
Is a resource as well. Thank you so much, gals,
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
to
you.
visit with us. Check out Harmony, a community that has managed to come together and build a community that is self-sustaining in southeastern Minnesota. Stay tuned for more Cities on the Move. Fresh ingredients, a soothing atmosphere, and a congenial host make the Quarter Restaurant a great place to enjoy a meal. Let's meet owner and chef Stephen Larson.
Harmony, Minnesota is tucked into the southeastern corner of the state. Rolling hills, grazing cows, and the occasional horse and buggy greet you as you saunter into town. Don't let this pastoral, bucolic scene fool you. The community is full of a diverse group of residents who treasure the past, but who are working hard to develop new and creative experiences for residents and visitors. Chef Stephen Larson is one such person. A 16-year transplant, Chef Lars, as he's known, loves tradition with a twist, and it's reflected in his restaurant, the Quarter. So what exactly is a Quarter?
The naming of the restaurant was kind of a fascinating mixture of brainstorming session and wanting to create something that had a connection to our rural area here. So quarter around here to most people means 40 acres. It's a quarter of a quarter section. So that means 40 acres. And historically, that's a very significant amount of land. That was considered the minimum amount of land that you could make a go of it in the country and be a productive part of a rural farming community. So, you know, this is what we're doing to be a productive part of our rural farming community. So this is kind of our quarter.
Chef Lars and his wife originally operated a bed and breakfast with a cooking school when they first came to town.
The cooking school, which we also did as a part of that, was about 8.5 years. And it was something that I always described as dinner and a show, because you end up doing, you know, a 3-hour class where it's demonstration only, people sitting in front of you. You go through all the recipes, I do the cooking, they just sat back and enjoyed themselves. What we ended up finding was that people were really just coming for the food. You know, the entertainment part, you know, I'm kind of a natural ham anyway, but we thought, well, let's just give them the food. So that's where the restaurant came.
Having just recently opened, the restaurant is enjoying a warm welcome by the local community.
Our clientele is a varied mix. When we first opened, they were very, very local, meaning just the immediate area, Harmony, Preston, Lanesboro, Cresco, Iowa. As we've been open, the word is getting out. You know, we're kind of seeing the concentric circles widen out, and then we're seeing the Decorah crowd starting to show up. But right now, the clientele is all very local, and you know, people that live here, and that's been very, very gratifying to see all of those people, because really that's why we opened this time of year, is we wanted to show the local clientele that we were really here for them, and that we're not just opening for the tourism season. That you know, they're our friends and our neighbors, and we wanted to be open for them and kind of demonstrate that by being open this time.
Chef Lars's menu offers a delightful choice of globally inspired comfort food.
My cooking style is defined really by what I don't cook anymore. When I was a chef in the Twin Cities, I cooked at the very highest end of cutting-edge cuisine. And when you're doing that and you're charging as much money as you have to charge for that, you take it very, very seriously. When I was doing the cooking classes here, I discovered that there was kind of a happy medium of doing chef-driven, interesting, innovative cooking while still capturing that comfort food style of feel. So it has a very recognizable quality to it. You know, we have meatloaf on the menu. The number one seller so far is the dish that we call the Beestrum Special. So the Beestrum Special is a trio of seafood cakes. They're made out of organic Scottish salmon, tiger shrimp, and lump blue crab, and that's served on a bed of organic mixed greens with a lemon and olive oil dressing.
In addition to the main dining room, the Quarter has a wine bar to enjoy.
I decided to do a wine bar in addition to the regular dining room, just as another space that was a little bit even more casual than the dining room is. I made a decision early on that people were coming here for something different. And the beer menu, and actually the wine menu too for that, reflects that. In my opinion, there's a trifecta that you have to have a really good meal. Number one, you have to have great food. It has to be very satisfying and nourishing in sort of a elemental way. You have to have a nice, comfortable space to have it in, and you have to have good company.
To experience your trifecta, check out the Quarter in Harmony, Minnesota.
And now for the calendar of events. View a colorful and eclectic fiber exhibit at the North Mankato Taylor Library through the month of April. Fiber Trio features 3 local fiber artists from the Mankato area: Eileen Hoines, Betty Winkworth, and Cheryl Wolf. This exhibit is free and open to the public. On April 25th, check out the races at North Iowa Speedway. This is North Central Iowa's fastest dirt track, running IMCA Modifieds, IMCA stock cars, 360 mods, hobbies, and Hornets. Races begin at 6 p.m. Admission is $10 for adults, $3 for children ages 6 to 12, and 5 and under is free. Residents and stores clean out their attics, garages, and basements to create the most spectacular garage sale, held April 30th through May 2nd. A trail of distinctive colored ribbons will identify participating garage sales from Winona to Red Wing on both sides of the river. Bargain hunters can start anywhere along the route beginning at about 8 a.m. with closing time set for about 5 p.m. all 3 days, rain or shine. Local residents and bargain hunters from distant cities enjoy church lunches and shopping amid the spring scenery of Lake Pepin and the Minnesota River Valley. If you have an event to share with our viewers, log on to ksmq.org and post it today. Next week on Cities on the Move, join us as we travel to St. Ansgar, Iowa to marvel at the delightful Bluebell Inn, learn more about the DARE program, and find out how local partnerships created a new source of heat for the schools. Please join us Tuesday, April 20th at 6:30 p.m. on KSMQ for another edition of Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Good night.
Production of this program is made possible in part through a grant from the Blandin Foundation.